Professor Olayinka, sir, what's your assessment of, I know that your university is not open at the moment, sir, but what's the assessment of these alternative learning mediums all over? We've seen various alternative learning mediums taking over the space at this time to increase access to learning. What's the assessment of this generally?
Well, I think it's probably the best way to go, to look at various ways. Like we have mentioned earlier, I mean, you need the devices, whether it's a smartphone or a laptop. Both the learner and the instructor, both of them need this. And of course, there should be power supply to charge your phone or to charge your laptop. Then the reality is that you also have to spend some money on data, because without data now, you will not be able to have internet access to the internet. And there are a lot of resources now that a student can make use of that are available on the internet if they have internet access. Of course, the bandwidth is also critical. And then for an institution of higher learning like the University of Ibadan, we need to also invest more in our IT infrastructure. So the idea is that, I mean, our plan at the University of Ibadan has been that over maybe since the beginning of this year, shortly before the COVID-19 lockdown, that we are going to make some investment such that by the time by June, I mean, from our original plan, that's when we'll be able to have internet access in their hostels as part of, as a minimum, as we're able to deliver. On the campus, within their hostel, they should be able to have 24 hours access to the internet. We are still working on that. I mean, immediately after this lockdown is over, we continue to from where we left off. So we are going to make a conscious effort to invest more in the IT infrastructure. And even for those students who don't have their own laptops, they can go to the central library or to their faculty library and make use of the computer systems there, because fingers are not equal. We realize that some students may not own these facilities. So it has always been an issue, but we won't rest on our hours to make sure that students can have access to those. Of course, the ideal thing would be for them to have their own personal computer, but those of them who are not able to own one now, I mean, it's not a crime. There should be opportunity for them to go to some central locations. And the National Communications Commission is also building an IT center on the campus where students can also have access to the internet. So it's going to be a collaborative effort between the university and the private sector, as well as government. Like I mentioned, the issue of the case of the National Communications Commission that is coming to our aid. And there are also other interventions that will assist us. So because we know that you cannot do any serious learning these days without leveraging much on the internet. So it's going to be bottom up as well as a top down approach. So we think with that, in the next 2-3 years, things will have improved significantly. But for now, we can still offer something to our students. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Dr. Ademola, it's believed that as a result of this pandemic, we might have a widening gender gap between the male and female in terms of access to education. Using the example of Sierra Leone, sometimes ago they've been battling. Sometimes ago, not anymore, not at the moment, they were battling with Ebola, and as a result of Ebola, it was estimated that about 11,000 girls got pregnant and could not return to school. And in some cases, for boys, it meant that some of them joined bad gangs and all sorts of things like that. Or we've already been experiencing such in Nigeria. And it's believed that, like in Lagos, there is what they call the 1 million boys, some cultists that are disturbing the community. In some other parts of Nigeria, also things are in varying degrees. How do we ensure that this pandemic does not widen the gender gap in terms of access to education? Dr. Ademola, sir, it seems that we can't, it seems that it's no longer, I can't see him. Perhaps he has disconnected to connect later. So, sir, I will take the question to Professor Olayinka, sir.
You talk of the gender issues.
Yes, sir. How do we ensure that we don't widen the gender gap following this pandemic, moving forward?
Well, but even with the example you gave is a bit now even is complicated now. So you said that some of the girls will get pregnant because of the continued closure, so which is bad enough. Then for the boys, many of them are also likely to join cult groups. So in that case, there is a balance of terror. The girls may get pregnant, the boys may also join cult groups. Neither of them is should be encouraged. So I think the onus is now on parents. Since we assume that all the institutions have been closed, students are now with their parents. So the parents have to then monitor the activities that their children are engaged in. Some of them, your boys, or maybe even girls, they now join Yahoo groups. And so the parents have to keep an eye on their children and their words during this process and monitor them because they are no longer at school. So the parents have to keep an eye on them and monitor their activities that they are engaged in. Like if they are using their phone, they have to maybe not allow them to visit some sites that will not contribute to their well-being, whether emotional or psychological. You don't want them to be visiting pornographic sites, for example. Even watching television. I mean, I think there are areas that should be no-go areas for the students. I mean, their parents have to. Now they are not at school, so their all wardens cannot monitor their activities while they are at home. I think that is just my contribution. Because when they are at school, the lecturers, they are in local parentis. They are acting as their parents, but now that cover is not there. They are with their parents, so there is freedom. But even when they are at home, I'm sure there's a limit to the extent of freedom that they can have, just like when they are at school. The home environment should even be able to restrict them more in terms of the movement, even though they are not kids, they are young adults. So I guess that is the only solution right now.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I will just quickly go through some of the comments we have here, and if there are questions, I would read them in. Please, if you are not one of the panelists, mute your mic. So I've seen comments about muting mics all over, and we've been implementing that. Unfortunately, that we have even had to remove some people from this platform as a result of the way it's been interfering. It's good to see that Dr. Ademola is back with a better internet connection. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I had a problem with my laptop.
We understand, sir. Please, we're talking about building the gender gap between. How do we ensure that we don't have a widening gender gap in terms of access to education after the pandemic?
Well, the statistics is not there to prove that for example, in my college, we have more guys or ladies, so to say, enrolling for teacher education. As you check generally, you discover that you have more female teachers than male teachers. So, but until we were able to also do the statistics seriously, and we were able to also get that statistic. But that's not to say that there's no such gap. I'm aware it depends on the section of the country where you have many more boys registering girls and not enrolling. But the only way we can do that is to make education accessible to everybody, especially teacher education. I'm talking as a teacher now because if there is a special provision for teachers or those students want to go for teaching or education, I'm sure that you have more pupils or more candidates wanting to go for teacher education. So that because we cannot run away from that, because we need better teachers to be able to also generate or produce future leaders, so that education percentage of budget for education needs to be increased. The government has been trying to make sure that the budget for education is increased. And that I also want to say that at the level of our institutions too, we should make sure that at least the little resources that are provided are also used to also get better facilities, so that we can get students who will be interested in teacher education. So that once the facilities are there, and I'm sure that everybody wants to also come for teacher education, so that we can get the best for the country. I think the gap gradually will be bridged if awareness is there, and facilities are also there for people to know that if you want to go for teacher education, there are facilities in various higher institutions waiting for you. I'm sure such are some of the methods you can use to also get that gap bridged.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. MG King, the person with the username MD King, you wanted to ask a question. You are free to do that. I've unmuted you now.
Oh,
MD King.
thank you very much. Yeah, I can speak. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Please introduce yourself.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm Muhammad Tajuddin Abdullah. Currently studying in Saudi Arabia for my graduate study. Please, first, Professor, thank you very much for your insightful contribution. Please, I have the following question to put forward. It is clear that when there's a challenge often gives us opportunity to have innovation. It leads to innovation. Now, the current challenges that what do you call it? COVID-19 has brought to us should give us an avenue to be able to bring out new stuff that will make us have a more better educational system. So I have the following questions. Number one, we know that many students now could not go for classes due to the current challenges. Now, aside even giving the challenge only to the government, why not the university try to partner with service providers like MTN, Glo, and all of that? You have to push them, force them to come to serve now. This is the time we need them. They have social responsibility to make sure they serve the Nigerian people. And this time is the right time for them to do that. The university can do it. The NANS too can do it. We need some things now, we need help. And the help we need is that these people will not do except we make effort for them to do it. That is one. Secondly, sir, I believe, even me, I'm a product of a university in Nigeria before coming out of Nigeria. We have series of research that has been done. We, as a 400 level student, you do research. If you go back to university, most of them are being dumped. Nothing is being done. There's no productivity. We only just do research for recharge state without any impact for the society. I'm sorry to say I'm a chemist. As a chemist by my area of study, I should be able to be self-reliant, self-dependent in terms of production of stuffs like soap and all of that. But do you know that my university system, I haven't gone through the school, I couldn't do any of that. I have to go and seek special education to be able to be productive, to be able to give back to society. So I think we need to do a lot now. The situation now is giving us opportunity for us to be able to contribute to the society better. So I want to drive this, please. Let the NANS and the university now try to make sure the resources we need, the government cannot give us everything. We can look at which organization hold the key to provide these resources. Then we'll go to them to partner. We go to tell them you have to provide this for the people. If we need device, it is worrisome that now in Nigeria, I don't think there's any device making industry in Nigeria. Who can make phone, who can make device? This is a challenge. We need to resolve this. If even this is there now, we'll be able to have customized device for Nigerian students. That will be cheaper. Every other nation has closed their border. We cannot bring in any goods. The only thing we can use now is what we have in our countries. Unfortunately, nothing is working in that country. But if I did it now, these things are in place. Okay, fine. We believe that every other thing have gone wrong. Fine. Let's now start it. Let's make it happen this time around. Please, let's fix Nigeria. because the chances COVID might still come again. Something worse might still come. We won't continue to be in this kind of situation.
Yes,
I want to
sir.
say something,
Mr. Mohammed. Professor, do you care to respond to that before we proceed?
Yeah, if we should react, have you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the last speaker has made very useful suggestions. I mean, one of I could also see from some of the questions that have been dropped on the chat that we need to collaborate with the service providers, maybe to subsidize data for students. I think it's a very fantastic suggestion. So we continue to engage them, Airtel, MTN, Glo, and others. If you can provide the data for students at subsidized rates, they can even do it so that maybe students can have access to it at night when the traffic will be a bit low, so that it's going to be win-win situation. They may still have to pay for it, but at least at subsidized rates. I think it's a very fantastic suggestion. He also made the point that we have a lot of research carried out by students that are gathering dust on the shelves in the library. I think that is why most universities now, we try to encourage our students to engage in entrepreneurship. At the University of Ibadan, maybe other universities too, we have a Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And as much as we will try to protect the intellectual property of our students and our staff. So I think these are not completely new. Like he said, I mean, the whole world now is a global village, but we too should be able to contribute something. It's not everything that you can import, because they also have problems in US, in Europe, and other places. So we have to look inwards. I think it was not so much of a question, but suggestions on the way forward. So I think we are doing something, even just like just yesterday. Well, earlier this week on Monday, we had a Zoom meeting between the UI staff and the Oyo State government as part of trying to look at ways by which our researchers, our scientists can contribute towards solving this global problem of COVID-19. So we had a virtual meeting. Then yesterday we followed it up with a physical meeting, even though we, as much as possible, we observed social distancing. And we set up 2 committees. And even the ABBA practitioners, they came, they were invited to the meeting, so that it's not we versus them. And so we think there is a way forward. And we are going to also continue the meeting during the coming week. Oyo State is backing us up. The governor of Oyo State was represented at that meeting. They have even gone ahead to create a WhatsApp group whereby people can exchange ideas. And the point was made that it's not so much about the individual, but it's the general good, for the good of the country. Because we know that for now, there no cure has been found for COVID-19. But like you rightly mentioned, if there are other preparations that can at least treat some of the symptoms, maybe it's dry cough or flu or headache or whatever, we think it can contribute, just like the one that has been reported in Madagascar or from Alps. But the truth of the matter is, we have, this is a conventional university, for example. We have people in virology, people in pharmacology, people in pharmacy, in pharmacognosy, who can contribute in chemistry to characterize some of those apps. And also using the indigenous knowledge of our traditional people, we think we can make some contribution. I mean, we are coming from different backgrounds. We are in academia, but these people have been doing this. Some of them, they even learn the trade from their parents or their grandparents. So we think there's a meeting point. It's not so much as if we're in the ivory tower, but we have to, I mean, if we are here, we just write papers in the journals and all that. Then we have not, we have to be more relevant to our immediate environment. We are in Oyo State. We should be able to impart what is happening in Oyo State, in Nigeria, then even the rest of the global community. So we understand the problem, and there are challenges, but we think we should be able to think outside the box and move forward. I mean, to relate more with to humanity in general. It doesn't have to, because for me as a person, when I look at some of the things that we are doing, I guess I think that we are not too far behind. The last contributor said he spoke to us from Saudi Arabia. I'm in Ibadan. I'm sure some of you are in Abuja. So this wouldn't have been possible 20 years ago, at least in Nigeria, or maybe almost impossible. But now it's everybody. I see my friends. They say, oh, they have a Zoom meeting 5 p.m. today, another one tomorrow. So I mean, it has kept us busy to even exercise our brain. Even though there is a global pandemic, a lockdown, but we have not been stopped from thinking. Just even today now, at 12 o'clock, I appeared on the program at NTA Ibadan. Yesterday, I had 2-3 meetings on Zoom. Even this evening, I'm still going to have another meeting. So at times when I look at it, it's like we are not too far behind. So we can leapfrog in terms of development. I mean, like Zoom itself is just about 6-7 years old. All it is what? I mean, under 10 years old, Zoom. And it's now so popular all over the world, including Nigeria. So I think this is the best way to go. There are challenges, but we are not allowed, we won't allow the problems and limitations to overwhelm us. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So I would just like to add to this. In terms of what is going on in the country, not all the some of these mobile network providers are making the various contributions to increasing access during this period. Specifically, I'll use the example of My Mobile, through which its platform we can have access to 5 education websites, and even also has the same thing for some health sites during this period. So through these platforms like Khan Academy, you can visit Khan Academy, you can visit Seesaw. Khan Academy is khanacademy.org. We also have Seesaw, which is web.seesaw.me. We also have schoolgates.ng. We have mobileclassroom.com.ng, and one other one, the National Open University. The National Open University platform is also open to students across Nigeria to have access to, especially those in the tertiary education level, courses that they take that are related to some of these courses at now. They can easily bring them up and keep studying, apart from wherever, in some cases where the universities or colleges or polytechnics have online platforms for students to learn. That's that about that. So coming back to some of the comments here, Mr. Rashid Oyetoro suggested that in case of subsequent times that we should try to suggest to panelists to get to measure the strength of their network in determining which one to use to connect to the platform. And then we also have a comment from Dr. Khalid Adekoya of the University of Lagos. Okay, he was adding to that that's part of the problem. The issue of the little issues we had earlier in terms of internet connection. If this can be an issue in a federal college, what would it be in other parts of the country that are not colleges or they're not tertiary institutions? And somebody added to that, Olabanji Bello said even in secondary schools it's like that. Then I would just like to read one more comment before we come back to our panelists. Okay. The person has already asked a question. Somebody from South Africa, Mr. Lawan Abdulhamid from South Africa, says that he's joining from the University of Witwatersrand. That's the university that we heard recently that did something about this. It provided internet access for students in his university through, in partnership with some of these mobile telecommunication providers, about 4 of them, MTN, T-Mobile, and 2 other ones I can't remember now. It's provided internet access for the benefit of students, and it also provided laptops or mobile devices. Though it will be at a loan, they will be paying for it later on. So as to increase access to these facilities in their school. So there's a sort of a collaboration between the public and the private sector in terms of increasing access during this period. In Nigeria, that we can say that
okay.
Just like the example I gave earlier, we can say that is totally deficient, but we still have a long way to go in ensuring that we are able to increase access to education during this period and beyond. So, Mr. Olabanji Bello.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Olabanji Bello, please, I would like you to ask your question. Mr. Olabanji Bello.
Lawan is here. Lawan is here. Can I talk, please?
Hello.
You talk.
Can I talk?
No, not yet. Mr. Olabanji Bello is the person permitted to talk now.
Okay.
Mr. Olabanji Bello.
Hello.
Mr. Olabanji
Yes,
Bello.
hello. Can you hear?
Proceed, sir.
Yes. Okay. I thank you. Professor Olayinka, I'm very grateful for your speech. We have learned a lot from that, and to the other speaker too, we are very grateful to you. My question is as regards, because I posted earlier in the chat room, is as regards our secondary, the elementary schools. I said earlier in the chat room that, okay, if we focus more on the universities, the higher institutions, what about the elementary schools, the primary schools? Of course, we know that these are the people that will eventually the tertiary institutions one day. And if their foundation is actually faulty, definitely there will be issues when they get to tertiary institutions. So I want to ask, how is it feasible in the incorporation of technology in secondary school? Or majorly, if I will even streamline it down to the primary schools, yes, how is it possible in terms of incorporating technology in their academic activities? And then secondly, I would like to ask, because right from when all this started, everybody have been saying that the government should do this, the government should do that. So I want to know, in this aspect of reincorporating technology, ICT in education, who should be responsible? Or let me put it this way, that, okay, what is the role of the government? Because if we say the government will be the one that will actually do all of this, then definitely we are lying to ourselves. So what is the role of the government in this? What should also be the role of the schools in this? That is, those schools that have, those individuals that have schools, either private school, most importantly, the private schools, private school owners. And also, what should also be the role of other stakeholders in education, like the parents? What should the parents do? What should be the role of the pupils on their own too, in terms of incorporating ICT in education? So that is all I actually have for now. That is all I actually have for now.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Olabanjibelo. I would like both Professor Olayinka and Dr. Ademola will respond to that, sir. Thank you, sir. So let's go to.
Yeah, well,
okay, proceed, sir.
Well, I think that is a very important intervention, because I think the idea is that science, technology, engineering, mathematics education has to be introduced to the students at a very early age, not only IT, but of course IT is just a vehicle. So I think because we want to, because it's like you said, it's those students who pass through elementary school, secondary school, that eventually will come to the tertiary level, whether it is College of Education, Polytechnic, or university. And if you have not been too much interested in the science and technology, then and engineering, it becomes a major challenge. I think it's part of the curriculum. And I even think in the national, in the curriculum that they implement now, they start teaching students science at the elementary school, also at the junior secondary school level. But of course, some schools may not have all the full complement of facilities. Whereas, because there was a time we were looking at the curriculum, the national policy on education. So science is introduced to them at the elementary level, as well as technology. But even though, again, I also think the curriculum should be a bit broad-based, just introduce them to mathematics, science, generally at that level, so that by the time they come to secondary school, they can then be doing individual subjects like physics, chemistry, biology, and the rest of them. So you don't want to start specializing at the elementary level. But some schools may not also have a computer and all that. And like you said, the government, I mean, if it's a public schools, government has to invest more. They also have the Parent-Teacher Association that can complement the effort of government. If all of us think that, at least for now, government alone may not be in a position to provide all that is necessary. And somebody has alluded to the issue of the quality of the teachers. You cannot give what you do not have. So, of course, the truth of the matter is that even when you come to the university level, not many of our applicants to the university, when they are applying to JAM, want to go and read the science education in the university because they don't want to end up becoming the teachers. They rather go and do the professional courses like engineering, medicine, pharmacy, and the rest of it. But we also need, so government has to come in to encourage the next generation of teachers who will go back to elementary school and secondary school to teach our students properly. In some countries, you cannot just go and teach in a secondary school or a primary school if you don't have a teaching qualification. So I think it's all hands have to be on deck. The parents also, they have to, I mean, those of them who can afford it, they have to complement whatever government is doing, and in order to encourage our youths to, I mean, to strengthen their skills. But of course, the priority is always a problem, or specifically the funding. Funding is a major issue. I'm sure some secondary schools, the kind of facilities they have, universities cannot even boast of them. But all this will not come for free. I think that is just by intervention.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Ademola, kindly add your voice to this conversation, sir.
The comments made by the last, one of our contributors is also is very important. The level of education at the secondary and elementary schools should also be a concern to everybody. I just want to add that for us to be able to also get the best at that levels or tiers of education, there must be, because I know that primary school is being handled at the level of the local government, and while secondary school is also being handled at the level of the states, while federal government also takes up the public institutions, public universities. So we need to also set the standard, and that there must also be regulation. There must be regulation on the standard of some of these institutions. I mean, primary school and secondary school, because now, as it is, setting up schools is for every Dick and Harry. It's for every Dick and Harry, and that has to also be taken into consideration to make sure that there is thorough supervision, and who qualifies to teach in the primary or secondary school. It's also very important, because if you are not a trained teacher, you are not a trained teacher. In other climes, if you are not trained professionally, you can't teach, either in the primary school or the secondary school. So we have to look at that at the level of the government, at the level of the society too, so that it's not everybody that will be setting up schools, maybe two-room school, primary school, and so on. And there must be thorough supervision, like I said. Then incorporating IT into the curriculum is also very, very important, and that we need to set the standard. Like I said, the local government has to be responsible to make sure that all the schools in their domains are well equipped, and best teachers and qualified teachers are also employed, and that the minimum facilities that are meant to be provided in those schools, be it primary or secondary school, are also provided. Because as a professional teacher, we go around to supervise our students when they go on teaching practice. You can see the quality of facilities in some of these schools, either primary and secondary school, are nothing to write about. So we need to improve on that, and that if we are able to provide certain IT devices or technology equipment or devices in some of these schools, either primary and secondary schools, that we can use as model schools, then these pupils will get used to them at that early stage of their educational career. So we need to do that. The privates are also providing their own, but you can also know that education is a concurrent piece in Nigeria. So both states and the federal can legislate. So, but the one that concerns the public, the government has to also, the government, like I said earlier, the investment the government has made, we have to build on the investment and the funding to make sure are also maintained and properly maintained. So as it is now, the stakeholders too, like it was suggested, as administrators, we also have to go reach out to them. We have to reach out to them. They can provide to some of these institutions, be it primary schools, secondary school, and tertiary institutions. We need to submit very, very important proposals that they can also benefit from. It has to be mutual benefit between the institutions and the stakeholders. So I think that's my additional input on that.
All right, thank you very much, sir. We'll come back to Mr. Lawan Abdulhamid, who is who is in the university mentioned earlier in South Africa. He used to be at Akoka University, Bauchi, for about 12 years. I would like to share with us some of his ideas. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Amo and everyone. It's a great pleasure to join this group and share some of the things that we do here at the University of the Witwatersrand. Actually, our university is not an online university, it's a conventional, traditional university, but because we have some system in place, it allows us to quickly go into the online platform as quick as possible. And as you mentioned, apart from getting data to the students, the university has negotiated with the network providers to make all our sites to be zero rated. So our site, when students visit our site, they don't need data to be able to do that. They can be able to access that for free. And that is what they call zero rated data. And another important thing that I want to highlight here is the fact that we have very effective learning management system. And I think that is important for every university in Nigeria to have very effective learning management system. And that is the platform that we communicate with our students. So it was easy. For instance, I am teaching an undergraduate class that I have over 200 students. Now, how can I be sending emails to the 200 students, or communicating with the 200 students? That is something very, very difficult. But we have our learning management system. Anybody that has registered a course, already I can be able to send in one message, can go into all the registered students. And that platform allows us to be able to even know how many students are accessing the platform, the resources that are uploaded on the system, how many students were being able to, and how many are not. And the university has put in place for the students, like in my class, recently the university requested for statistics. How many students are accessing our learning management system? Are they engaging? And I found that about 25% of my students are not. And I can be able to get the list of those students. I submitted to the admin of the university, and they are contacting the student on phone and discuss what are their challenges that they cannot be able to. And what the university did, in the initial phase, was to conduct a survey. They did a survey, monkey survey, that they asked the student about their access to the internet, the challenges they have with the phone. The university managed to get some phones and laptops to the students, which, as you mentioned, they are on loan. But that has been very, very effective. So I think what my contribution to that is, I have no doubt that Nigeria will have all the resources, all the capabilities, the talent to be able to achieve the online platform, even at these difficult challenges. Our major thing is ensuring that we have things in place. And the university, in addition to that, they run online training on how you move your content into the online resources. That also been very, very effective. There are a lot of, we use Microsoft Teams, and our universities can also, liaise with or collaborate with Microsoft. There are a lot of support that they can be able to give to our university in order to be able to achieve these kind of challenges. And I'm glad that we have this forum where we can be able to discuss about these challenges, and we cannot continue to allow our universities in particular and our colleges of education to be closed. We need to find ways that we open them, because we don't know when this pandemic will stop. We have no idea, and we can't keep our students at home for all that long. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Idowu, has mentioned that there are a lot of economic impact of closing the schools, affecting our entire system. So I think this is the time, and in addition to that, it is an opportunity for us to be able to think beyond the current questions that we are, to be able to use our ICT resources more effectively. Thank you very much, Abdulsalam Amo, for giving me the opportunity to.
Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution, Dr. Abdulhamid. I will assume so. And moving forward, we have a lot of comments here. I hope I'll be able to read them. Well, I have one from as a text from my phone here, going to Professor Olayinka of the University of Ibadan. Mr. Tungo is asking whether what is the plan of the university is making towards the country? Before you ask the question, before you answer the question, please, if you are not one of the panelists, mute your mic. I've removed some people earlier. All right, Professor Olayinka, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, the preparation, of course, we have to. I mean, if I got a memo from the director of the University Health Service as to what we need to do, because when students are coming, they will be coming from different places. So maybe they have to go to the University Health Center to undergo some tests. I mean, so that we don't run into another problem. But we have not decided yet, because we don't even know how soon we are going to open our gates to students. Like I said, we have the COVID lockdown, then our lecturers are also on strike. So we have to get around the two problems. And if I may also comment about what our colleague from University of Witwatersrand in Johannesburg mentioned. Just like he rightly mentioned that at WITS is our partner, by the way, that they have a learning management system in place. So for us at the University of Ibadan, we have been meeting almost every week to develop a robust learning management system for the university. Because the University of Ibadan is a dual mode institution, because we have about 16 of our programs that are already on the distance learning mode. And the principle behind the distance learning is just like this e-learning. So we have a learning management system in place, which we are trying to upgrade. Because you cannot really have a robust e-learning system in the university without the learning management system. And during the last session, we have the resource management system, which we use to process our student results. So logically, the next thing to do is to have a learning management system. And also we have been discussing long before the COVID pandemic as to how to invest more, how to strengthen our IT infrastructure. Because the learning management system itself will not work well if you don't have a robust IT infrastructure. All of them are interrelated. So by at least I was just very excited when he mentioned that at University of Witwatersrand, they have a very robust learning management system, which students can then also have access to. So if you check our website, I'm sure there will be some link to our learning management system. It's still work in progress, but we know that is the only way to go. That's the best practice, international practice. So that the student can go at their own short time to download materials there. And their lecturers, even your course content, the learning outcomes for each course. What do you want to teach in the first lecture? What are you going to teach in the second lecture? And the teaching materials, references, all of them should be there. All these are components of the learning management system. Even how do you assess the students? I mean, it's not going to be like a black box. Students need to be in the spirit of openness and transparency. How are you going to assess the students at the end of the semester, the continuous assessment? I just felt I should make that comment.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would just like to add to that at the University of Ibadan as well, on their website, students that are dubbed and updated, there's a platform for them to continue learning at this time. And
it's part of the learning management system. Because the new students have been asking us, what can we do now that we are at home? That was why we said, okay, let's upload some of these materials. You can have access, even though they may not be very interactive for now, but at least let them have something, like the general study course, use of English, science and mankind, those of them who have been admitted and they have done their clearance, let them have access to it. Even though it's not, we are not there yet, but we have an idea of what we need to do in the next 1 year, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years. It's going to be incremental. But let's start from somewhere. And that was the essence.
Thank you.